Okay, hey, what's up, everybody? This is actually not part of the tabloid. I keep switching projects. This is going to be some fan art for the Clockknight project that is going to come out from Zomic Book, One and Only Comics. It's going to be pretty cool. I really like his Clockknight character, and he's doing, I think, a Clockknight book. I told him I would do some Clockknight fan art because I like the character a lot. I like the character design, and so that's what this is. And, you know, we love doing stuff like this. I like sort of iconic indie characters like this. They're a lot of fun to do, especially if they have a couple of stories done. Ooh. I could just make it work. Anyhow, definitely check out One and Only Comics on Instagram, at One and Only Comics, I think. And you probably see some Clockknight on there. And I sent him the, like, kind of the draft, like the rough, what you see here, the really messy thing that you see here. And I said, is this okay? And he goes, yeah, do that. I said, I'm glad you accepted the rough, because all the, for me, the real art takes place in the inking. This is where I like to kind of get my details in. I don't know if that's possibly not a healthy instinct on my part, but it is what I do. It's got kind of these cable-y arms here. And really, this is, it's just meant to be fan art. Pretty cool. At the end, we're also going to be doing this. We probably won't get to that in this video, obviously. We're going to do a vintage color treatment as well. And I should probably get around to doing the vintage color on the Plastic Man comic as well. Tarzan's already got one. Jake, who you might know as Heavy Oscillators, did color on... It looks great. He did color on Tarzan. He did color on my previous Tarzan. I'm considering asking him to do color on... I think he'd do a great job on Plastic Man as well. Maybe even Adam Frankenstein. The problem with having him do Adam Frankenstein is I don't know what the color is supposed to look like on there yet, so I wanted to think about it first and maybe give it a go on my own first. I have this idea that it's going to be kind of sort of gray or washed out or browns. You know, I'm thinking of a palette. And of course, in the end, what I'll probably do is my little trick where I find a cover that I like that seems to have the right palette. And then I'll try and use whatever palette they had on there. This one also has my version of custom fonts. I think this one was originally called 2P and this one's originally called K-Cutout. What I like to do is I put the fonts on there and then I warp them or distort them, and then I'm going to be retracing them. So, you know, they're not exactly 100% original, but they aren't the same as they were. So they have an origin. And then, well, there you go. So, time climbed up for justice. On the top one, the swamp guy, the sewer monster guy with the broken mace, his hand is going to be superimposed above the K in the clock over here. So he'll be in front of it. And I originally had an actual clock down here, which I might rebuild. I might just take this part and just redraw it up here. It came about because the character's name is Clockknight, but I also wanted to have something up in the foreground. But he came back and said it needs to be in a square format. We're going to try and print these square. And I'm like, okay, cool. It works better. The composition I have works great as a square. So, and all I had to do was move the two titles up and down to change it. But it did somewhat eliminate my need for the foreground element. I say somewhat. And I think I'm looking at my the way I drew the sword. I think I drew the sword good. Looks like I gave him a little bit too much room, so I think we might put it like right there. You can even put it maybe right there. That's the great thing about digital drawing is you can kind of move your elements around if you have to. Layer 4, we're going to rename this ink Inky. And pretty cool. Whoop, 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 whoop. Let's here we go. That's really good. We want to have him rushing at this monster that one of his comics had on there. That's on the One and Only Comics page on Instagram. It had a similar scene where the character is rushing a frog character, and this is an amphibian sort of monster. So it's kind of a reference to the other one, but it's not exact because he draws a more, I'm going to say, cartoony version. That's the real version. Mine's just a meant to be like a fun Elseworlds alternate, like as if I were drawing this comic, this is how I would do it. Alright, it's got to have the forearm up there. Okay. Now, how do I get the hand? Of course, I'm bringing my own set of references in and influences in. Which in this case, for me, I'm thinking about, as I'm doing this, I'm not sure I'm doing a great job of emulating it, but I'm thinking about Kirby. I'm thinking about Kirby's Machine Man and Thor, you know, with these big blocky geometric weapons. Definitely on my mind. And I kind of want to have some kind of like energy coming off of him as he's making this tackle, this leaping tackle that he's doing. Here we go. Oof. I'm still working on the Void Circuit comic that I showed yesterday. Cool, cool. Yeah, he's happy with it colored. Okay, cool. I've come to... I don't know if this is recognizing your weaknesses or accepting your style. I think that my style is a Silver Age, lo-fi, superhero and adventure comic aesthetic, right? Not to say that I'm never going to strive for more. I'm going to continue to take classes when I can and when I can afford them. And this most recent one has had a huge effect on how I'm drawing and inking. By the way, there he is right there. I don't know if you can see him. But it's also slowed me down a bit because now I got all this other stuff that I need to think about it. And the cool thing about it, and maybe it's the uncool thing about it, is you can't stop yourself from thinking about it. Like once somebody shows you something that you hadn't really incorporated yet and you study it enough to learn it, you can't go back. You can't go backwards and start. I'm just going to keep doing what I was doing. It's going to affect you one way or the other. You can't unsee it. That's what I often say. And in this case, this was the Ryan Benjamin Pencil Fixes course, but specifically on a technique he called capturing energy. And I'm not saying I do it well, but I'm just saying that I can't help but consider it. You know, every time I draw now, I have to think about, this is how he taught us to do the thing. And I think it is making a huge difference. Oops. It's a very abstract concept. And luckily, a lot of his other concepts, the things that were most controversial, I think, in the class, like not everyone was cool with this, with learning this stuff, was he emphasized speed and spontaneity. And if you are a more methodical artist, and you're more looking for a specific technique, I can see how this would be very annoying, because it's not a specific technique. It is literally just speed and spontaneity. It's loosening up and letting go and stuff like that. And like I said, not everyone was cool with that. When I was in the chat room that the teacher can't see afterwards, some people were like, I just don't get it. They were not cool with it. And there was a lot of discussion. Alright, now as far as this goes, I want to use this is my pixel energy effect. Alright, cool. That was not the hard part for me. I think the hard part for me in that class was just learning the it was not an anatomy class. It was literally about capturing energy. And it was really hard to describe kind of like what you were being asked to do. You start out by drawing these just spheres, and you're shading them in with different things. All right. Well, I'm gonna let this go for right now. I think we got a good start on it. I will see you next time. I've stopped doing the videos every day, but there will still be videos. I think I'm going to give him like a male shirt. The one character I was thinking of that I was drawing this character was Colossus from the Outer Spaceman. Obviously, this is not the same one. I hesitate to give him the head fin. But I am going to give him some scales. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.